Crypto Hotep here with another budgeting video in our Budget to Trade series. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, really appreciate the support. And we are going to be wrapping up June's budget and then looking ahead for July. Even though that's the month we're in right now, and 4th of July is passed, and so forth and so on, we're still gonna do some looking ahead here. But first off, I want to say thank you guys again for tuning into these videos. And the reason for the budgeting videos, because I know it's plain, or my channel is mainly charting, trading, investing. I feel as though budgeting is the crux or the foundation for any good trading or profitable trading or investing strategy. You got to know, at the end of the day, you have to know where your money's going to and where you're getting money from, and you have to be able to track that. And being able to track that properly will allow you to invest properly. I've suffered greatly in this regard, and me and my family starting to see a little bit of a turnaround with just tracking our finances and still being able to save and to invest, and just hopefully getting that equal balance, if you will. So as always with these videos, the program, software, whatever you want to say, that I'm using is Monarch Money. Description is in the link below. Use the link below to sign up for it. I believe you can get $50 off, and then I can get $50 off or something like that. But feel free to use the link if you don't have Monarch Money. I vouch for Monarch Money. This got our finances on track. I'm not a big spreadsheet guy, and I like things to kind of pop out at me. Plus, Monarch Money has a lot of good reporting tools and capability. And the one thing about budgeting I will say, and then we'll get right into it, is budgeting really has to, it takes form, or it really shows its face after a full year, I feel. After a full year of budgeting and tracking your expenses and understanding where your money is going, after that full year, you have a lot of power, because now you have past data that you can look on to properly budget for the months ahead. So I'll show you what I mean, and I'll show you a couple reportings that I use typically, now that I can use because I have data. But let's stick on June here. So if you're unfamiliar with a lot of my needs and fixed costs and those type of things, go to the first video in the budgeting section of the channel, and that'll kind of go through my whole strategy and steps and all that. Per usual, this number here in the green is not the income. Okay, for privacy reasons, I'm keeping the income separate, and I'm not showing the income just for my family's privacy here. Okay, but when we go to the needs and fixed costs, needs and fixed costs are everything that are usually stationary for the most part, or things that are a need. Okay, so the auto payment came in regular for my wife, no big deal there. Groceries, we came up a little bit higher than normal. We're normally budgeting around $12.50 per month for groceries. We came up $14.01. I'm okay with that variance of a little bit over $100. Again, with my budget is not going to be penny to the T accurate. It's more of, it's kind of an area that we need our spending to get to. So it's not going to be right down to the penny. It's just not going to be do that. That causes too much stress for me as it is. So I just kind of do it as long as we're in a decent area. I think we're good. Mortgage did come down to the penny, so $11.87. We have had our home for over 10 years. That's why the mortgage is so low. We have a fantastic rate as well. Vitamins and supplements, this did go up normal. Now, the reason for that is I changed my vitamin supplement pack that I'm using. So I had to kind of bulk buy everything. So this cost will stabilize, and it should be, fine in July. So I'm not really worried about that. My wife's esthetician expenses. So if you are familiar, my wife did go back to school to become a licensed esthetician, and bump. She is fully licensed now, so that's a beautiful thing. Congrats to her and big shout outs to her. But one thing that we did do is we did pay off the full amount of her schooling. So that's why this expense jumped. Now, we've already had this money. I've already said this before, but we used a margin loan from M1 Finance against the stocks ETFs that we hold. So the ETFs that we hold that we will never sell, we just borrowed against them for my wife's schooling, and we were able to pay this off. So we've been doing that, for several months now with her schooling. But now we just kind of supercharge it so we can just, pay everything off and, get that balance down to zero. Okay. Gas, gas went up just a little bit, over $100. Again, I'm not too mad at that, especially with the fluctuation of pricing with gas, and then also because I do a little DoorDash on the side as well. I'm okay with that amount. That's fine for me. Water, somewhat similar here. My wife's hair, nails, and lashes, that went up a little bit because there was a little bit of other items that was in relation to that, and then in addition to that, June was a longer month, so it kind of changed the way and the dates that my wife's lashes and nails fell upon, so it kind of looks more than what it normally is. Again, not too worried about that because we've had money to cover that. Xfinity Comcast internet, that stayed the same, 130. AT&T phone, 174, that stayed the same, no big deal there. Gym, it's $18, no big deal there. Auto insurance, 600, came in 600, no big deal there. Again, for anybody new to the channel, 600, you think that's a lot, that's for 3 vehicles as well, 3 vehicles. And then housing expense. As I mentioned last month, we now incorporate housing expenses and that includes Amazon Subscribe and Saves now. So Amazon Subscribe and Saves are included into these housing expenses, and then I forego the Amazon category. So I've just kind of lumped everything into housing expense with Subscribe and Saves, just because most of the time those items are for housing expenses. And we did come up short here, which is a good thing. So I budgeted about around 750, and we spent around 710. So 750 includes our Amazon Subscribe and Save, and then it also includes a little bit of, there's a roof that we're still paying off on, and then also some furniture with the 0% interest. So that's all lumped in here. Haircuts, rounded out the same, $80 for me and my son. Auto payment for me is $384. That came out as such here, and then we do get a mileage reimbursement for that as well. Financial fees, there were just some credit card, like a credit card fee here. That was this transaction here. Consumers energy 100 came out 100, and then here we go. Kids needs randomly. So this amount, again, on the budget, it shows 100, and we spent 1585. So if you're, again, this is from my mindset as well. When you're budgeting for your family, you kind of know or have a feeling when months are going to get a little bit quote unquote heavy. So June are heavy months because we have a lot of things to celebrate, right? So we have birthdays. We have 2 birthdays in June. We have my wife and myself with our anniversaries also in June. My wife also got licensed to be an esthetician, so that was another thing to celebrate. And then Father's Day is also smack dab in there. So there's a lot of things going on in there. So this 1585 is primarily for my kids' birthdays. So we've had, if as a reminder, we rented out one of those bounce house, places for my son's birthday, and then our daughter's birthday. We also did birthday party at the house with several friends and all of that. So this was food, presents, decorations, everything incorporating of a party for kids. We categorize under kids' needs. So we spent about 1585 there, and this was separated by two kids. Okay, so all in all, again, we had money for this, and as you can see here, this amount is going down. And again, I'm not making it where it's going to be pinpoint dollar for dollar, penny for penny. I'm good with a variance between $1 to $500. Usually, $1 to $500 means that the budget is actually on point. Okay, and the reason it does that is because I also track our sinking funds in here. So when this number here gets in the green a little bit higher, that just means that I've moved money accordingly from the sinking funds and added it to the expense here. Okay. Um, for wants and variable costs. So again, these are items where we are. These are things that aren't necessarily a need and that could change infrequent throughout the month. So if we look at family entertainment and eating out, again, we talked about a big month, a heavy month. June is that heavy month, so we went out a little bit more, and so we budget normally 300. We actually went out to $456 here worth. Okay. Auto expenses. These were higher than normal, and the only reason for this, because they're normally $20, in and out, normally $20. The reason for this was because of an oil change. So this $88 variance, the only reason was because it was an oil change. And so we did have some gas slash car sinking fund money to pay for this. So it's all good for that. Subscriptions came out around even. I'm okay with this. Subscriptions total everything. So Apple, um, if Apple, Roku, I believe we have, and Netflix, all those subscriptions fall up under here. So about $164 for subscriptions, and we usually budget 150. I'm okay with that. Random withdrawals. Random withdrawals are items that also fall in relation to Amazon purchases that are out of the norm, or withdrawals from ATMs or one-time purchases randomly that we have. So 538 is what we have there. And let me see. I'm going to look on my phone again just to kind of protect the privacy here. If we look at to see what let's see, randomness stood out here. Looks like they were all like very just Amazon kind of nitpicky little items here. Amazon one-time purchases, very random purchases, things like saucer plates for plants, for instance. What else do we have here? Let's see what this is. Pool light. So again, those are things that uh, we can look at as just a one-time purchase. So we have, again, sinking fund money to cover that. Okay. Clothes and shopping, we don't normally budget for that because, again, we don't normally shop for clothes every month. So this was only $73 here. Travel and vacation went a little bit over $1,000. The reason for this, though, is because we paid off our July 4th annual quote unquote retreat or trip that we normally do. So they took like the last payment for that, and that's the reason why this spiked up. Okay. But again, sinking fund came into play here because we already had the money for this. Okay. And then minimum and overpay credit cards. So we are paying off some debt here that we have. So we had a minimum and overpay credit card payment here. So not only did we pay a minimum payment to the credit card, but we also overpaid on that credit card for that debt as well. So again, as I mentioned, a 100 to 500 variance is okay. That budget is right in line here. 69 bucks. You can't beat that here. And then in addition to that, we did pretty well where we were able to invest a little bit over 1100 bucks on the month. That is not including 401k. I don't consider 401k in this because that is pre-tax and we are using post-tax dollars for these contributions. And then this is the amount that we've contributed to M1 Finance, Coinbase, SoFi Invest, so forth and so on throughout the year outside of the 401k piece. Okay. So if we look ahead to July, one thing that you can do is when you start tracking your expenses and you track it for over a year, you can look ahead to the year prior to see what you can expect for the upcoming month. So this is what I mean. So if we go to reports, and I'll show you here, if we go to reports here and we go to spending, and we just look at this year and last year. We can look at first. We'll look at June 2026 and June 2025. So if we look at June 2026, we spent over $13,000, so $13,255.67 all in. Okay. June 2025, we spent $13,390.34. Very close, very close. And when I saw this, I'm like, that is crazy. That is crazy scary how close that is. Okay. So what I would be looking at is July, as in we are in July now. So what can we expect, right? What can I expect for July? Typically, with our spending, what I find is May and June somewhat peak the spending, and then it gradually drops off. Okay? So July of 2025, we spent a little bit more. It looks like on Amazon and Sam's Club and a couple things like that. This, I feel as though we'll probably spend less than this amount July of this year, only because we were prepping for a big trip last year. So we were prepping for an actual international trip to Portugal last year in July 2025, and we're not doing that this year in July 2026. So this is going to be a little bit less here. Okay. So that's my thoughts. I think we'll be a little bit less. There won't be really any surprises here. So, that's what I think. So again, we'll cut this video off short here, or try to. But again, thank you guys for watching. Wrapping up June 2025's budget. Again, everything came out squeaky clean on the budget. I do like what I see. And again, if you don't have a Monarch account, use the description below. And as always, guys, thank you and keep budgeting.